So with the Anime Awards happening in about a month, I wanted to look at some of the nominees for some of the categories. You know, we got Anime of the Year, Best Action, Film of the Year, Best Director, and then I got to Best Isekai. And what I saw was Diddy Tensei as one of the nominations for this award. One simple question came to my mind when I saw that. Why the fuck is this show mainstream? I mean, guys, we know what happens in this show, right? A part of me almost wants the answer to that question to be no, because then that would at least some of my hope for humanity would be saved. This show is so... I can't even think of anything else. It's weird. It's just weird and uncomfortable to watch. There's so many scenes of just... it's just uncomfortable. I don't know what else to say. Now, a lot of anime have some weird shit.
He's really strong, isn't he? Yeah.
I beg your pardon? I beg your pardon?
The last thing you want to do is scroll through Crunchyroll and just click on whatever, because you'll end up watching...
Wow! Front page! Front page! Then why shouldn't I be able to kiss my big brother?
What the hell is even that?
But I think Diddy Tensei just takes it to another level, where it's not just a show with like a couple of weird scenes. It's just actually a weird show. Like, the whole show in general is just weird. A whole bunch of animes are normal for the most part, but then there's certain scenes or characters that are a little odd, but that's not a problem, because you can just take a nice, relaxing trip to Lake Laogai, and magically, those weird scenes in your favorite anime don't exist anymore. Or at least they don't exist in your mind anymore. There is no Nina death scene in Code Geass. Hizuku isn't a complete weirdo. He's just a fun clown that makes children happy. But the thing with Diddy Tensei, I couldn't even fucking guess how many trips you would have to take to Lake Laogai. I mean, my fucking goodness. It would at least be every 5 minutes of the show. Lake Laogai would probably just make you forget the entire show. That would probably be the best option. Anyways, about a couple of months ago, I actually watched some of Diddy Tensei. By accident.
I know what kind of man you are.
Okay, it wasn't by accident. But you gotta believe me, bro. I was set up. I was actually set up. Please, you gotta believe me. I was set up. What ended up happening was I was on TikTok and people were just glazing the fuck out of this show. It was insane. I saw so many people writing comments saying they would let their mothers die to get another season of this show. But what really got me to watch it were people were saying it was the best written isekai. The fact that people were using the words best written made me think it wasn't gonna be anything weird. Like, I also looked at the art style of the anime and the character designs. Everyone was wearing like genuine clothes, so I thought it was gonna be like a serious, not weird show, and I was down for it. But oh boy, was I wrong and trust those TikTok comments. The first episode, the actual first episode, the second the main character got born, one of the first things he does is want to touch his own mom's breast in a sexual way, by the way.
But she's gorgeous. European? Either way, if she's just gonna leave herself open like that.
Now listen! That's called motherfucking bars, nigga! You know nothing about that!
I should have just turned the show off immediately right there, but I didn't. I know how this show works. Like, it's his mind from his old life just got transferred into this new body. So we didn't really see her as his own mom, but still, what an odd thing to say, because it is still technically his mom. And by the way, this was just the first episode. The show gets way worse. If you guys haven't noticed, I've been calling this show Diddy Tensei, and there is a reason for that, and that's because of the relationships the main character has with women in this show. Before I get too deep into the video, I want to explain the show for anyone that hasn't watched it or doesn't know anything about it. The show is an isekai, so what that means is a regular person getting sent to a fantasy world. Sometimes they just get teleported there somehow, or they end up dying and then get reincarnated into the new world. In this show, the main character in their original life was a 30-year-old loser man that ended up dying and then got reincarnated into a brand new life into this fantasy world. He also still kept the mind of his 30-year-old old life. So, you know, make sure to remember that because
that's a surprise tool that can help us later.
What I thought this show was gonna do for his romantic relationships was going to wait for his body and the women around him to grow up before he does anything sexual. Yeah, I was dead wrong. Rudius, who is the main character of this show, his relationships just kept getting worse and worse and worse. When Rudius was around 5 or 6 years old, the first woman love interest got introduced, and that was this blue-haired girl who taught him magic, and she was 37 years old. Nothing happened between them at this time. Rudius was trying to spit some game, but she wasn't having it because he was too young, and she just wasn't taking him seriously at all. This gave me some hope, because it made sense. Rudius would be attracted to older women since he's actually a 30-year-old man. So I thought the show for at least the beginning was him just gonna keep trying to spit game to older women and just keep getting rejected until he actually got older, and then he would actually get a girlfriend or whatever. And I'm gonna say it, boy was I wrong again. By the way, anyone saying how this blue hair girl would be considered a love interest since Rudius wasn't even being taken seriously? He ends up marrying her and the 2 other girls I'm gonna bring up. The second love interest was this green hair girl who was the same age as Rudius's body. They were 6 and 7. This relationship, they are friends, but it definitely seemed like they were hinting at a potential romantic relationship. And of course they actually were because they ended up getting married, like I said. Why is a 30-year-old man making friends with a little girl and both of them kind of falling for each other? I hope I don't have to explain why that's weird to you guys. I hope I really don't have to explain that. Here we go again, guys. I thought this was the farthest the show was gonna go. Once again, I set another bar. I'm gonna be hey, I'll give the show a break. I thought this was the farthest they were gonna go with the girls the same age as his body. They're just gonna be friends, but kind of obviously set up a romantic relationship in the future. But they're not actually gonna do anything. But guess what, guys? I was dead wrong.
Again. I'm so excited.
The third and final love interest was the red hair girl who was 2 years older than Rudius's body. This relationship is full Diddy mode. I do not understand how people defend this. The main character is a fucking pedo. Rudius was 10 years old and the red hair girl was 12 years old when they first met. I'm not gonna get into the details of everything because this isn't a full-on anime review. The red-haired girl was seeing that her father was thinking about the idea of setting up an arranged marriage with her and Rudius. So she thought it was set in stone and it was 100% gonna happen. So she brought Rudius to a room, got in sexual positions, and was hey, do whatever you want with me. So as an audience, we had to see a 12-year-old girl and a 10-year-old boy who was actually a 30-year-old man contemplate having sex. I was done. I stopped watching the show after that. I couldn't take this anymore. This show is so weird. I know he didn't actually end up doing anything, but the fact that this motherfucker was even thinking about it is weird. It's weird. The thing I hate most about this show is the fans, because they try to defend this for whatever reason. Why can't the fans of this show be High School DxD fans? High School DxD fans, they don't sugarcoat the show or themselves. They know there's some gooner fucks that watch a weird ass show. I couldn't even make a video talking shit about High School DxD because it simply wouldn't work. I would talk about how the show is a straight goon fest and the people that watch the show have never spoken to a woman in their life. But the only problem is the fans would just look at me with a straight face and be okay, your point is? They just own it. They don't try to defend the show or themselves. They just own it. You can't talk shit to a High School DxD fan because anything you say to them, they've already said to themselves looking at the mirror. But with Diddy Tencent fans, they try to defend it. The main character is so obviously a pedo, and the author is a sick fuck for writing this story. Like, the main character's conscience got transferred to another body. His thoughts don't get dumbed down to the age that his body is. Even when he was a newborn baby, he was still thinking like a 30-year-old man. He was still fully aware. He wasn't thinking like a newborn baby. He was still like thinking like a grown adult. By the way, guys, throughout the entire show, there's a bunch of just like weird sexual jokes, things that just go just too far. And it's not just like these like one-off scenes of him with like the little girls. There's just still a bunch of just weird sexual things that go on throughout the entire show, or at least from the part that I saw. And also, this thing gets worse. Apparently in the manga, one of Rudius's kids, who is underage by the way, gets with his older aunt. Yes, his blood-related older aunt. Woo! This is a show getting nominated at a major event for Best Isekai of the Year. Let's go!
Alright, play off the grid.
We off the